Hello, this is Tim Law with Planet Forward Coaching and Self-Reliance You. Always remember your life, your dreams, your goals, and career are all essential. Whatever your mind can conceive and believe, you can achieve. A big thank you to over 350 people that have subscribed to this YouTube channel, Planet Forward Coaching. If you haven't already, please do so. Be much appreciated. Today, I am really looking forward to another wonderful interview with outstanding young man named Jared Wagner, who came up through Central High School and then had a stellar career and then an equal or greater stellar career at York College. So welcome, Jared, and let's hear your story.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me. Yeah, kind of like you said, I grew up in Central York School District, born and raised in York, went to York College. At Central High School, I played both soccer and basketball. So I was a two-sport guy there. Was fortunate enough to have great coaching and win a lot of games in both sports and have some success along the way doing that. So then I graduated in 2016 and then went to York College to play basketball. I started out as a secondary education major at York. So I wanted to get in. I always knew I wanted to coach. So the teaching was going to be a backup plan if I wanted to teach or coach high school, that is. The would have been my in per se. But then it was the fall of my sophomore year, I switched to sports management and got a minor in athletic coaching. So that my passion is obviously basketball. Working with kids is my kind of my avenue there. So then I always had dreams of becoming a college basketball coach. So last year I spent the last 12-ish months as a graduate assistant at Hood College, which is a smaller Division III school in Western Maryland, Frederick, Maryland. Some people might be familiar with Frederick. It's about an hour and 15 minutes from York. So not too far. But then I had the opportunity to come back and be the lead assistant coach at York College, Pennsylvania with the basketball program. So I started about a week ago now. The 15th of May was my first day. So I'm almost about a week in. It all happens really fast, but I'm excited to be back. I know my family's excited to have me back. And I'm, like I said, excited to be back on staff and to be back as part of the York community, which I know extremely well. So.
Yeah. And what's going to be your main role there, Jared, as far as the assistant coach at the college there?
Sure. Yeah, we only have one assistant coach. So I'm the only assistant coach on staff. So it's me and then our head coach, Matt Hunter. So I have my hands on everything and anything. And Coach Showers, who was my assistant coach, he's from York as well. He went to York Catholic way back day. But he left about a year ago to go up to DeSales up in Allentown. So he's full there. But Coach Hunter had a huge amount of respect for Showers and what he did. Coach Showers is one of the better assistant coaches you'll find anywhere. So I got a chance to see how hard he worked and what it took to be a really good Division III assistant, especially on a one-man assistant coaching staff, because there's plenty of basketball programs in a X amount of hour radius that have 2, 3, 4 assistant coaches. So those responsibilities kind of get divvied up. So I have all those responsibilities and maybe more in one person. So it is a lot. But I feel ready for that opportunity. And I know Coach Hunter wouldn't have offered, I didn't apply for the job. Coach Hunter called me and offered me the job. I feel ready. And I know he feels I'm ready, or else I wouldn't be back, so I'm really excited, and I've been working for a week and it feels like I've been working for a month, and I program and how Coach Hunter works. So it's an easy transition for me. So it is exciting. I hate to keep saying exciting, but it's the program that made me who I am.
Sure.
I'm excited to pass that along to our players and then recruits that come forward next.
Right. Well, tell us a little about your playing days there, Jared, as far as your positions that you played. And, I saw the press release as far as the York College was concerned. And my goodness, you're in the record book in like, I don't know, 10, 12 different categories, just phenomenal, like top 10 and even higher than that, even more like in the top 5. So tell us a little about your playing career, the position you played, and take us through that for a minute or so.
Yeah, so I'm about 6'1" on a good day, depending on who you ask. A guy with the ball in your hands. When I played, we didn't really, and we kind of do the same thing now. We don't do positions. It's a lot, especially in modern basketball. It's not positions. It's a lot of positionless guys. Shorter guys obviously probably dribble better than the bigger guys, but it's just trying to fill in where you can. So I played the guard position, point guard specifically as I got older. But I wanted the opportunity to stay local, which is why I live 10 minutes from campus. So it was a really easy commute for me, and I wanted the opportunity to play right away, which I felt was the case at York. And I came in freshman year and played, I don't know what the exact number was, 20 minutes a game. The opportunity to compete, and it was never about points, minutes, shots taken, all that type of stuff. I just wanted an opportunity to compete and have success, and my family to be there and watch me play and come to all my games. Then I know there were some other schools recruiting me that were 4.5, 5 hours away, and that I wouldn't have had that opportunity to have them at all my games. Not even just my parents, like my extended family and my grandparents. Like they came to every game they could, especially the home ones. That was important for me in my process, and it's different for, like, we're going through it now, and I'm still 23 years old at this point. So I'm only 6 years removed from the recruiting process. So as we're recruiting the next generation of players, I'm still young enough to remember the kind of stuff that they're going through and what's going through their heads. And there's different things that are important for everybody. So I wanted the opportunity to play right away and have an impact. I mean, I was always one of the more, I guess, vocal guys. I mean, we never named captains at York. We were always captainless. It was just one of Coach Hunter's philosophies, which I think is great, because everybody can be a leader, and people lead in different ways. So we had plenty of guys that were quiet, did their work, led by example. And we had plenty of guys, which is more me, more vocal. And just because you have a captain doesn't mean there's other guys that aren't leaders on the team. So we were great in that aspect, which is why I fit in so well. Like, the atmosphere was just a competitive culture, competitive atmosphere, which is what I thrive in, and which is how I live my life every day. It's just one of those things you just can't turn off. If it really is who you are, like, you are competitive all the time. And I know that's Coach Hunter to a T. And I think that's why we work so well together. And that's why I kind of developed the relationship that I have with him now. And then I had a ton of success playing, but it was more about the relationships that I built with coaches, Coach Hunter and Coach Showers, and then the players that I played with. And that's ultimately what I wanted. I wanted ability to compete, and I wanted to be able to build lifelong relationships, which I 100% did both at a really, really high level. So there's nowhere else I would have rather been than York. And it's so funny. It just comes full circle now that I'm back. But
no, that's wonderful. How about some of when you were in high school, some of the top people you played against?
Yeah.
There's a pretty good guy over there at Spring Grove, I think was 1 year behind you.
Yeah.
And then Northeastern, which I'm very familiar with, has had a couple pretty good ringers there too. So what can you say about some of the local guys there?
Yeah, the York County is really, really big time for special athletes and special people. Like the people you're referencing, Antonio Rizzuto, Fred Mulbah, like Eli Brooks, all of those guys. Like, I knew those people, those guys and their families, like, deeper than just us competing against each other. Like, Eli Brooks' dad still plays pickup with us to this day. Yes. So the relationship that I have with the Brookses and then the Rizzutos, like Nick's a senior, going to be a rising senior. I still see him him and his family at these events. And whenever I see him. So I think it's a testament to the type of families that are around here. Those guys are super competitive people, like Eli, Antonio, Fred. there's a lot of guys I'm probably missing right now, and I don't mean to miss any, but those guys, like you mentioned, just are jogging my memory.
Sure.
They have fantastic families, and they were raised the right way, raised to put in the work and be great athletes, but raised to be respectful and build relationships with other people. Like it's one thing for me to compete against somebody that's super talented and then I just play against them and then not really talk to them outside of it. But the fact that I still have relationships with those guys and their families is what makes the York County basketball scene special to me. Is because there's great people all over the place, not just great athletes. And people love the community. And it's not Antonio goes to Albany, Eli goes to Michigan. It's not that they're no longer involved in the community. Right. Antonio does stuff with the fire department up in Albany. So that's just a testament to how these guys were raised.
Sure.
Because you like them so much and you like their family so much, you're like, all right, I'm not losing to that guy. But it really is. It comes down to how special the kids are, but it ultimately is how they're raised. Wise, and definitely their family situations and all that type of stuff.
Sure.
Great.
Well, Antonio's actually transferring to Towson. You probably heard that. Yeah. So, but anyway, yeah, they're great guys. I've gotten to know, I've known Fred and Antonio since they were seventh graders. And got to meet Eli on a couple occasions when he was a junior and senior year. He's just a phenomenal player. And I totally agree with you when you're talking about, the great families for sure. So going forward here, Jared, what are you looking for? What are some of your goals as far as the York College team going forward that you see, that you're setting up in your mind as far as goals while you're coaching the team there and helping out?
Sure. Yeah, we've been fortunate enough to win a lot of games when I was there. We won 17 my freshman year, and then since then we won 22, 24, 20 games. And in a Division III year, we play. It's a little bit different than Division I. We only played 25 regular season games, so we're losing 8 games at most every year, which is in and out of the top 25 consistently. So that's kind of what our program has turned into. Which is a testament to Coach Hunter bringing in competitive guys, and that culture continues. Like they did. I obviously wasn't there this year, but they didn't play any games, so they practiced the entire year and didn't. From everything I've heard, like they still had great practices. And to those guys wanting to work and wanting to be better. We've never been a huge concrete goal type of team. We always just want to. And something that Coach Hunter instills in everybody is we want to be the best we can be. And that's different every year. And that's certainly different for individuals, one guy to the next guy. But it's about being the best you can be and then being the best you can be for the guy next to you. So as long as we do that, we're going to – Coach Hunter always says this, we're going to end up winning more games than anybody can sit around and talk about if we're doing that the right way.
Sure.
So that's just what it boils down to. It's nothing too crazy. It's just the simple things that we play. The way we play offense is simple. The way we interact with each other is simple. Like we don't need to do anything crazy at any time. Just be the best we can be and have a lot of fun and compete while we do it. We're gonna like the spot that we're at the end of the year.
Sure. Well, and as far as, because I gear a lot of this toward teens and young adults, Jared, what advice would you give to, let's say, up and coming? I know you coach, a lot of these younger guys and everything like that. And one of the things I'm going to ask you to do is once we get squared away here is to, put it out on your social media platforms and encourage those young people to, view not only yours, but I got one with Fred and Antonio also. And just the idea that, you have them subscribe to the channel if you could. But what advice do you generally give to these young guns coming up?
Yeah, for me, like everybody's different. One thing that makes me tick is going to be something that makes something different, completely different, that makes this guy sitting over here tick or the guy over here tick. So it's not. There's not one concrete formula, that's going to work for everybody. It's just the biggest thing for me as an athlete is I my biggest transition was between my junior and my senior year. And I did a lot of reading, a lot of self-reflection. And I really was, I was very hard on myself as a player. Not necessarily to a point of being a perfectionist, but if I got down on myself consistently. And that was one thing I knew I wanted to improve as I grew up. And for me, the outlet was reading. I read a lot my junior and senior year, and I was able to figure out like what I was doing, and why I was doing it, and figure out what made me who I was, and nothing else. Like if I make a bad play, it doesn't make me any less valuable to the team than, if I make a great play. So yeah, I played with a lot of fire, a lot of emotion, and I still did that. And that never wavered. But me not allowing that kind of stuff to linger is what made me have the senior year that I did. And I attribute that to several different books that I read that really, really resonated with me. Then I watched a lot of videos on speakers, guys like Joshua Medcalf, guys like John Gordon, those mental training type guys, because I knew that's what I needed. Like I knew I worked hard enough to get to where I wanted to get to as a player. I just wanted to make sure that nothing was holding me back. And I think it's really important that you understand who you are, because not everybody has put in the amount of hours to the point where you're like, all right, I'm satisfied with where I am. Like, what else do I need to do other than sharpen my physical tools? And for me, it was my mental side. It was reading and being able to handle those adverse situations. But some people need to work a little bit harder. Like not everybody works hard enough. So it's different for everybody. And the harder you work and the more you're able to understand who you are as a person and as an athlete, the better off you're going to be, not only on the floor or on the turf or whatever, but in life. Like I became a much, much happier person my senior year. One, because I testament a lot to having a girlfriend that I'm still with, and for a while, for the rest of my life, hopefully. So she helped me calm down, but it also, I really understood who I was as a person. I was okay with missing a shot. I was okay with not missing a defensive rotation or stuff like that. So that was what I needed, and I got that. And I understood whether I was reading and I knew that I was going to get that out of it. Probably not, but it ended up really, really helping me. So being able to be, I guess, humble might be the word, have enough humility to understand that you're not perfect. Really, really important. I think for everybody, especially with social media these days, like everybody, it's easy to point out other people's flaws, especially the pros, and you see all that type of stuff. So that's just the society that we live in. It's a show me what you're doing society. So we tend, as a society, to be negative toward ourselves. And I'm actually learning a lot. Like my grad degree is going to be basically in psychology, sociology, counseling. So I'm starting to learn a lot of that stuff in my classes. So it is unique, and I'm starting to see it come full circle. So it's really cool. So
yeah. Well, it's interesting is that, I've done a lot of coaching too, whether it's guys or girls tennis at Northeastern or coaching wrestling in 3 different states. And the one thing, and you really brought it up, and I really agree with you, is that in sport, perfectionists get killed. The goal is to be excellent. And excellent, as you've defined it, is being the best you can. You prepare the best you can. You do everything you possibly can. And, and when the contest is over, it's over. And as long as you can walk in there knowing you gave it your best, you did your best to be excellent. I mean, that's about all you can do. But perfectionists, like I say, you can have one little bobble and now your whole game, you fall out of the zone and everything, and your game drops on you, So
about that.
Yeah. How about your family? My wife and myself and stepdaughter Jocelyn and her husband Dan. They had three boys that came up through your mom's preschool. Yeah. And I'll tell you that they think your mom walks on water. We love her to death, and she did such a great job with Wyatt and Griffin and Beckett. So I don't know your dad as well, but your mom, I've gotten to know and everything. So talk about your family for a little bit, and then we'll start to wrap things up here.
Yeah, my mom, like you said, she runs the preschool at Central York, and she has since 2000, since the new high school opened, which
Mhm.
was probably at this point close to 20 years ago.
Mhm.
Uh, she did the same type of thing up in West Shore School District. So she worked at Redland
Mhm.
High School. So she works with high schoolers, teaching them how to work or teaching them how to teach preschoolers,
Mhm.
essentially.
Yeah.
So running a preschool in the high school. So it is. I took that class in high school. I didn't have her at the time. There were two different teachers, so my mom made sure I had the other one, so there weren't any mixed opinions or
Mhm.
interest. So, but like she was the reason why I wanted to get into teaching.
Mhm.
Uh, no, I wanted to do secondary education, so obviously the ages were a little bit different.
Mhm.
Uh, but my passion for working with children comes from her, and there's no doubt about that. There's
Mhm.
anybody who knows me and knows her will tell you that.
Yeah.
And we are very like she is really emotional. I'm really emotional. It's probably why we're so attached to each other.
Sure. Sure.
Hey, it was when I was playing, there was an article that was put out, and I self-proclaimed myself a mama's boy. I know that. But it's
Your mama's boy to your mom, Jen. There's
yeah,
nothing wrong with that. She's incredible.
I do love my mom. And my dad is a little bit more straight, um, serious. I guess would be the word, straight
Mhm.
edge, serious. And the interesting thing is, depending on the situation, I am very both of that.
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm very serious when I'm playing. I'm very emotional, like emotional roller coaster. Not as
Mhm.
much down, but I'm very much wear my emotions on my sleeve, which is very much my mom. When I'm coaching, I'm way more my dad. So it is funny to see the difference of my genetics coming out in different situations. Both basketball, like I'm coaching, like I'm like
Yeah.
my dad, serious. At times I'm emotional, like my mom, but
Uh-huh.
person I am more like my mother. And she's they're both like it goes back to having like me talking about Antonio, Fred, Eli, like
Yeah.
we talked about before, like like my parents know their parents, like we're
Mhm.
all like intertwined, thanks probably a lot to the York Ballers AAU, because we all played with
Right.
those guys, so we're all around the same age and know each other through that. But like it's really it has a huge impact, your parents do. And I know you don't necessarily, kids don't see that when they're younger, just because their
Right.
mom, I don't know what stage they're at in their life. Their mom and dad either know everything or don't know everything. It's all age, but that's like when you get to my age, you start to see why you are who you are and
Sure.
why you what you value.
Mhm.
And it's going to be really hard for me to leave home one day for good.
Yeah.
When myself and my girlfriend Ashlyn, I end up getting a full-time job coaching, and I go wherever I'm going to go, wherever I end up. I would love to be at York for the rest of my life, but maybe that's just not. It might not be feasible, and all that type of stuff, because I love it here. But it's going to be really hard for me to leave my family
Mhm.
and my extended family, just because this is just what I know, and I've grown
Sure.
up doing. And I've
Yeah.
grown up on my family, and they made me who I am. And there's no doubt about that. They made me who I am. And the program at your college made me who I am. And Coach Hunter made me who I am. So I've
Sure.
been really enough, and all my youth coaches growing up, I've been really fortunate to have great coaches the whole way
Mhm.
through. And that's like, I say that all the time. And I am nowhere near the athlete that I am, the coach that I am, the person that I am, if it's not for all of those positive influences
Mhm.
that I've had. And I 100% attribute everything that I am today to all those people. And there's a huge umbrella of people that I've interacted with that have had a very positive impact on my life.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's so well said, Jared. And, because I've done a lot of coaching, and my program is called Playing It Forward Coaching. You're obviously in a position that you're going to be doing that, influencing more and more kids going forward in your young career so far and everything. And you've set such a great example as a competitor, with all that fire out there, that you're never falling asleep on the court or anything like that. You're flying around like crazy and
Yeah.
doing whatever you had to do. Well, this has been wonderful, Jared. I
Yeah.
really appreciate it. Any parting thoughts before we let you kind of get off? Because you got a 5 o'clock appointment you got to get at here.
Yeah, the doors are going to start open up. Actually, they opened up 2 minutes ago, so hopefully nobody starts.
No, nobody photobombed this yet, Jared. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm glad that we were able to figure out a time. I know
Yeah.
it was been because I've known I was transitioning to York, so I started being really really busy over the past month, trying to wrap things up at Hood before I started on York a week ago. But I appreciate you making the time and reaching out to me to make this work. It was great. I got here at 3:15 and jumped on a phone call at 3:30. It was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Worked out.
but if anybody, like, I don't know how many people in what kind of realms watch this stuff or subscribe to this stuff, but my email address and my phone number is all on my York College bio.
Okay.
So that feel free to reach out via text, email if anybody would like to talk, or I'll gladly pick anybody's brain that's involved in coaching, athletics, or youth sports, or anything like that. So if anybody has anything to add or they like to talk about, I'm always free via email or phone call. So
Super, super. Well, thanks so much, Jared. Just hang on for
yeah,
just a second while I pause it, and I'll catch you for just a minute or two here.
yep.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.